studio, and we are now into December. Anyway, when this posts, it'll be December. Bear with me here for a moment. I just want to make sure everything's kind of like straight here before I get started because we like to see things, not all wonky and all that. So I got my little level thing here and just making sure that we're looking straight down. And of course, I also have my laptop so I can see everything. Okay, everything looks good. So let's get started. So, again, thank you for stopping by the channel. This is my monthly Christmas card inspiration. I do this video on the first of every month. Typically, now there's a little disclaimer to this whole thing. Typically, my monthly Christmas card inspiration projects are they're meant to be fairly simple and easy to duplicate, and this gives you inspiration, if you're creating Christmas cards throughout the year. So, um, yeah, so this is November 30th, the evening of November 30th, in which I am recording this. And so we just recently had the Thanksgiving holiday here in the US. And my typical Friday Night Live actually became a Saturday Night Live, which was last night, because you know, so much stuff going on, and I just couldn't get the projects done in time. So, like I said, that Friday Night Live became a Saturday Night Live. I had actually started it a little bit earlier, and I also offered a bonus project in that live as well. Now, for my month, so as we get towards the end of the month, I have to really start thinking about what I'm going to use in my video content for the following month. So, for the month of December. So, one of my goals that I had, uh, a lot of the product from the holiday mini catalog, along with the online exclusives back in September, all like the Christmas themed stuff. I have quite a bit of it. And my goal has been to use as much of it as I can before the catalog retires and the product also retires as well. So, usually, that the current product is what I'll use on my Friday Night Lives. We only have 4 Fridays in the month of December. So I thought that I would also change something up a little bit. Throwback Thursdays are where I pull out my retired stash, and I'll typically create two projects using whether it's just a stamp set, a bundle, or a whole suite of product. But because there is more product and less month, I decided that for my Throwback Thursdays, they're not exactly going to be retired product. I am going to pull in some of the current product, and it's going to almost be like a Friday Night Live, but it won't be live. And instead of two projects, I'm going to create three projects. Now, again, earlier this morning, I took a look at what I have, and I pulled out my planner and I started scheduling what it was that I was going to use. So when I went to create the projects for this video, my mind was not thinking that I was creating a monthly Christmas card inspiration um, video. I was thinking it was Throwback Thursday. And then once I got done with the projects, then I realized, oh yeah, this is monthly Christmas card inspiration. So instead of two cards, there's going to be three cards. So I think we'll just leave it at that. The cards are still fairly simple and easy to create. So the bundle that I am going to be using is the homemade treats. So when it comes to any of the stamp sets or the bundles that Stampin' Up! Has come out with that kind of like has like a baking theme to it, I always really love those bundles because baking is typically what I usually do around the holidays. So when I see them, I typically get them. So homemade treats was one of those bundles that I had not used yet. And again, now we're into December, so I had to kind of fit, what I have into what, video days I have left. So instead of two projects, I have made three projects. And again, these projects, they're a fairly um, simple laid out cards. So these are cards that definitely, if you wanted to either use the layout or use the identical, um, stamp set layout, color combination, and all that, um, feel free. And if you don't have this bundle, maybe you have a different, like say baking related type of bundle, then use what you have. Maybe you could do the same layout, the color combination, maybe different stamps or different greetings. I mean, it's up to you. So let me put this aside and let me bring in the stuff that I need for my first project. So let's pull this all in. Now, there's a lot of stuff that I already stamped ahead of time because it needed to be die cut. So it's going to save a little bit of time, on the video itself. So for my card base, I have pecan pie. This measures 8.5 by 5.5. It's scored at 4.25. I have a piece of Pool Party two-tone cardstock. So one side's a little bit darker, the other side's lighter. And then I also embossed this using the this is the beautiful pattern embossing folder. This is part of the brushed beauty suite of product. This is product that came out with the November online exclusive offering. So this is currently available. I'm actually towards the end of December. I will be doing, I think, a Friday Night Live using this whole suite. So emboss that. Now, one of the nice things about the two-tone cardstock is that you do have like the darker shade of the color on one side, the lighter shade on the other. Now, this paper, it does have a white core to it. So what I'm going to do with this two-tone cardstock, I do have a sanding block here. I am going to sand the raised areas on this, and it'll expose that white core of that paper. This piece measures 5.25, no, not 5.25, 4.25 by 3.25. Then out of a scrap piece of the silver foil, there is a die that cuts out a cookie sheet. So we got our cookie sheet here. And then out of basic white, I die cut this label. This label comes from the Nested Essential set of dies. So I believe this is like the second smallest. You got the small one, and I think this is the one that's just a little bit bigger. So we have that. And then I also, out of my basic white scrap, I have stamped the oven mitt in garden green ink and die cut that. And then I have two little gingerbread men that I stamped in pecan pie ink, and then I die cut those. So I'm going to start off with taking my card base. I'm going to fold and burnish this. And we'll take this and we'll kind of set this aside. Then I'm going to take my embossed two-tone cardstock, kind of move that out of the way, and I'm going to use my sanding block, and I'm just going to go flat right over that embossed area, and you can see that white core showing through. So this is one of the techniques that I really like doing with this two-tone cardstock. Now the two-tone cardstock kind of came out, um, when we started with the, what do you call it, the scrapbooking stuff. So when Stampin' Up, they when Close to My Heart was going out of business, there were some items that Stampin' Up did purchase, and also they worked with. They were not called demonstrators. I think they called makers. I'm not 100% sure, but at that point they started coming out with more scrapbooking and memory keeping related products. And one of the products that that Close to My Heart had was the two-tone cardstock. So Stampin' Up! Has come out with the two-tone cardstock in all of their colors. What I have done, you can buy the packages individually. I think you get like 10 or 12 sheets to a pack. But then there's also the variety packs that you can get with some of their scrapbooking workshop kits. There is the additional where you can get a package, I think like maybe 10 sheets, 5 different colors. Sometimes it could be four. But that's by getting those variety packs is a good way to get a variety of different colors instead of buying like that whole package of just the one color. So we have that now sanded down, and we're going to adhere this to our card base. I am looking at my screen and I see that it is pixelating and focusing in and out. Let me bring this up just a tiny, tiny bit, because sometimes if it's too close, then my phone is trying to focus into it and it kind of does this bouncing thing. Okay, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to place this at an angle on my card base like so. Okay, and then for my label here, I'm going to bring in, now this stamp set is a clean red rubber stamp set, so you don't need a foam mat. Usually the foam mats are what you would use for photopolymer. But because my grid paper's white, cardstock's white, putting it on here, I can see a little bit better as to where I'm stamping. So for this one, the greeting that I'm going to use is "'Tis the season for baking." I do not have the labels on these. So what I do when I have a greeting, when I place it on my block, I kind of look at the bottom of the greeting and the bottom edge of my block, and I line that up, and just by visually looking at it to see if it's straight. Now the reason why I don't have, I mean, there is labels here that you can put on your stamps. The thing with the labels is that you only have one shot at it. If you don't get it on here straight, it's not like you can take it off and then reposition it. The adhesive on there is very strong and it will tear the foam. The other reason why I don't put them on there, because sometimes with the stamp when it's die cut, it may not be die cut evenly. So for example, I see more of a rubber edge on this side than I do on this side. And then kind of like the same thing on the top and the bottom. The top looks like there's a little bit more. So if I put the label on it, it may not be exactly lined up to the image itself. So I just, when it comes to greetings, I just kind of look at it and I eyeball it and just kind of line it up with the bottom of the block. So then when I turn this over and I go to stamp, what I want to make sure is that if this bottom edge of this block is straight, when I go to stamp, then it should be straight on my cardstock. Okay, so for this, I am going to stamp my greeting in real red. Real red in here. Of course, it'd be on the very bottom. Okay, I'm going to bring this in a little bit so I can see where I'm stamping. Make sure that's good and inked up. And again, I'm going to, and the other thing I look at is like, do I see more rubber underneath on the bottom or on the top? I see there's a little bit more on the top. So with that in mind, I'm going to then place my stamp up just a little bit. And again, just making sure the bottom of this block is straight. And there we go. There's our greeting. All right, let me set that aside. And we're done with the stamping. Again, I did my stamping ahead of time so that way I can die cut. It does save a lot of time when I do that. Okay, so let me move this out of the way. And now let's go ahead and put our card together. So for my greeting, I'm not going to pop this up. I'm just going to add some adhesive to the back. And then I'm going to line this up, make sure my card's straight. And I kind of line this up in this upper right hand corner, just seeing if it's straight on the top and on the right side. Then on my cookie tray here, I'm going to adhere my gingerbread men on here. Now for these, you can use glue dots, you can use glue. Just be mindful that you are putting this on foil and it may take a little bit for it to dry, and you don't want to use too much glue because you don't want the glue to ooze out and then it smudges up your foil paper. So I'm going to put one there. And then my other one, we're going to put him right here. Yeah, I'm just going to hold it for a moment. Okay, and then I'm going to turn this over. And, oh, you know what I forgot to go grab? One moment, please. I forgot I needed more dimensionals. Put that in there. Get rid of that. Okay. So I'm going to add 4 on the back of this. Okay. And then on my oven mitt, I'm going to add some on the back of this too. Okay. Now I'm going to take these backings off first. All right, so then on my card base, I'm going to take my cookie sheet and I'm going to place it right there. As you can see, I got a little bit of smudge there. Somehow I must have adhesive, something sticky on my fingers. And the thing is, sometimes this does not work. It makes it worse. Okay, then my oven mitt. I'm going to take this and I'm going to overlap it just a little bit on the edge of the corner of my cookie sheet here. And then I'm going to bring in the real red and white baker's twine. This baker's twine came out in our holiday mini catalog last year, along with these are the real red and white adhesive back peppermints. So the peppermints are currently in the online exclusive, so they're not in a catalog, they're online. But the real red and the white baker's twine, this is actually in our annual catalog. So this twine is basically going to be around, unless it sells out as we get closer to May, because May is when the catalog, early May is when the annual catalog will retire, and then we have a new one. And then, so we don't really know, it's not a guarantee that this twine will end up carrying over. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a double stranded bow with it. Now I want my loops kind of small. I don't need them too big. And I have a pair of scissors that are just for my ribbon and my twine. So I'm going to take my tails and I'm going to trim them about there. Okay, we get rid of the excess of that. And I'll put this back in here because this is the only card we're going to be using that on. And then I want my glue dots. And we will put our bow on the glue dot. And pull this off and kind of take this glue dot and wrap it around to the back, since it is a little bit bigger than my knot. Get it unstuck from my fingers. And then I'll stick this right here, just under that little loop for the oven mitt. Okay, and then we're going to add some of these peppermints to our card. I really do like these. You can see I bought like how many packages, because last year they couldn't keep these in stock. So I have like a total of like 4 of these guaranteed before they end up going away. And I don't know when that could happen. It could be after the holidays. Like I said, I really don't know. I definitely do want to get a few more packs of these because these really are a fun embellishment. And these, they're not very thick. They're pretty thin, and they're almost got like a rubber type of texture to it. So these would be perfect on your cards that you're mailing. There's not a lot of height. There's not a lot. They're not heavy. They're fairly light, and yeah, they're being that they're flat, they're not going to go when they go through the postal machine, they're not going to go through your envelope. That's what I'm trying to get out. Okay, so there is our first card. So a pretty simple card to mass produce. You can do all your stamping and your die cutting ahead of time. Same with this two-tone cardstock. Cut as many pieces of cards that you're going to do your sanding, and kind of do like an assembly line on doing your card, and you can get a lot of these done in no time. So there is our first card. All right, so let me bring in our second card. This one is really, really super cute. This one is a case off of a card that I saw that another fellow demo, Heidi Collins, had done. I did change it up just a little bit. Casing is encouraged, so casing is copy and share everything, or copy and selectively edit. And that's typically what I do, is I usually edit it a bit to kind of make it my own. On this one, I think what I did differently, I used different designer series paper and then also different embellishments as well. Okay, so for my card base, this is crumb cake. It's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. Then I have another piece of crumb cake. This measures 4 by 2 3/4. Out of a scrap of basic white, I had stamped my rolling pin, my oven mitt, my icing bag, and then if I can get it picked up. And then I have my little gingerbread man. So the gingerbread man, that was stamped in crumb cake ink, my rolling pin pecan pie ink, my oven mitt, that's in pool party, and then the icing bag, that is pretty in pink. So I again stamped and die cut ahead of time. Now this designer series paper, okay, let me kind of explain what this paper is. So this paper, that don't go that way, it goes that way, and that goes that way. So this strip of paper, it came from, this is the Christmas Tags and More 6x6 Mix and Match Specialty Designer Series paper. So what's really cool about this paper, let me kind of open it up and show you what this paper is about. So you can basically create a whole bunch of Christmas cards or tags just by using this whole pack of paper. So you get quite a bit of sheets. So you have 2, 3, 4, 5. It got kind of bent up. 5, let's see, 6, 7, 8. So you get 8 sheets each. So on one side, you got these tags. You can just cut them up and they become tags, or these could be pieces that you can add as a layer on your card front. And then on the back, you have this, this pattern of the garden green and the white checks. Yeah, checks or stripes, whichever you want to column. And then we have this paper here where you can cut this, you can cut the strip here. So then you have a panel of this panel designer series paper. And then you have this part where you have this greenery swag. So that can become, a layer on your card. And then you have the full pattern on the back. And then this is the one that I had cut for my card front. So this piece here, so it's 6 inches, and then it is 1 3/4 inch wide. So I had cut this strip off. So this is what I am left with. So I got these 2 panels. And what I did, I had taken that strip again. So, and then the other thing that's cool, I'll show you with this paper really, really quick. So you do have, again, 8 sheets of each. Okay, and so then you got this plaid on one side, and then you got like this star pattern on the back. And then you don't have 8 of each of these, but you do have two of each of these die cuts. So Again, this whole pack of paper, you can literally create a whole bunch of Christmas cards just with this paper alone. And then, let's see, let's kind of get this back in its bag. So, yeah, so I cut that whole strip. And then what I did to kind of conserve the paper a little bit, instead of cutting the whole strip to go across my card, hold on, let me get this in there. It's kind of fighting with me. And this would happen because, you know, I'm recording and usually that's the way things work. Okay, let's get that put in there. So what I did, so my card is, let me fold and burnish this first. Let's do that first. Okay, so the way that I had done this, so this panel here is going to be centered on our card front. Now, I'm going to stamp my greeting on here, and then this piece, so this is 2 3/4, wait, what is this? This is 2 3/4 across. So on this strip, I cut a piece that was 2 3/4 inches wide. And then what I had left over, I then cut this in half. What I'm going to do is this layer is going to be on this panel, and then these pieces will actually be tucked behind it, and it'll look like I have a full strip behind this panel. Okay, and that kind of saves a little bit of paper instead of going straight across, and you got this whole panel that's going to be covering it. So I cut it up. So, and the thing is, these other two pieces, they'll come underneath this piece a little bit, so you're not going, it's going to look like it was a continuous piece. All right, so I'm going to take my, this is the 4 by 2 3/4 inch piece. I'm going to bring in my foam mat again. And then for this one, I want my early espresso ink. And the 'Tis the Season that we just used, we're going to use that again. So let me quickly clean that. Okay. Make sure that's dry. Okay. So early espresso ink. Okay, we'll ink this up. I apologize for the camera shaking. Man, my hands are really dry. Need to put some lotion on them. All right, so this, again, I don't have the label on there, and I'm going to look at the bottom. And I'm going to make sure that that's straight, and I'm going to stamp this near the bottom in the center. And I don't want to rock this too much because there is that ink that's on that top edge right there. So I don't want to catch that and get it on my cardstock. Okay, close this up. Now this longer piece of that designer series paper, I'm going to take my liquid glue. Now I'm using liquid glue on this, so then that way I have that bit of wiggle room to kind of put this in place. And this is going to go right across. So I want this just a little bit above my greeting, like right about here. So it's not really centered. And I want that lined up from edge to edge. Okay, make sure that's down. Okay, now what I'm going to do is well, first we're going to place our pieces on here first, because we are going to put some linen thread around this before we put it on our card base. So I'm going to put those pieces aside. Now I want to take my rolling pin, we're going to put that down first. I'm not going to use too much glue because there are going to be other pieces that are going to layer on top of this. And so I'm going to take this and I am going to kind of come at an angle with it. And we'll press that down so that sticks. Okay, and then I'm going to take my icing bag, add a little bit of glue to that. And then that is going to go, hold on. That is going to go, see, right about here. Okay. And then I'm going to take my oven mitt and we'll add some glue to that. And we're going to kind of like tuck this under. Actually, this should have went down first, but it's still going to work. I could still get it underneath there. So the Pool Party Pretty in Pink and the Crumb Cake, they're colors, they're really pretty colors that go together. Okay, so then with my little gingerbread man, the little hearts for the buttons, I'm going to color those in. So I'm going to bring in my Pretty in Pink Stampin' Write marker. So this is part of the 2024 to 2026 in color pack. The truth is, I don't even know if these markers are still available. Let me take a quick peek because Stampin' Up, they have discontinued the Stampin' Write markers along with the cling, the red rubber stamps. Now all of our stamps are going to be the photopolymer. And one of the techniques with these markers one of the techniques was that you can use these markers, the brush tip of this marker, to add to color onto your stamp. So if you wanted to do your greeting in multiple colors, you can use the brush tip of your markers to just color over that word. And then if you just, huff on it a little bit to moisten and wet the ink, and then you can stamp, and then you have stamped in multiple colors. So because the issue was that some of the materials in making, the red rubber stamps, they were starting to have problems getting, the materials. So they decided to discontinue them. So right now, um, like when you can't buy these individually, the only one you can purchase was the basic black. Right now the basic black is been sold out, so it's discontinued. The only way you could get the colors are color collections, are subtles, are brights, are neutrals. What's the other one that I'm in? Subtles, neutrals, regals, and the brights. They come as a 10 pack, and then our in colors, they come as a 5 pack. So there's 5 colors in our in colors, so they come that way. So right now, our full packs, the 10 packs of our color collections, uh, the regals have sold out, so they are now discontinued. What's still available is the subtles and the brights. Now, the price of those packs were originally $35. They are both marked down to $24.50. They're not showing that they are on low inventory, but that can change at any time. Also, the neutrals, Those two have been marked down to 24.50, but those are actually at low inventory as I'm doing this video. Now, this marker, this Pretty in Pink, again, it's the 2024 to 2026. This pack of 5 markers were originally 17.50. They are now marked down to 10.50. They're not showing that they're on low inventory, so they're still available. And then our newest in colors, the 2025 to 2027, again, those were originally 17.50. They are now currently marked down to 14. So again, one end you have the brush tip, and then the other end, the bullet tip was changed, so it's a little bit wider than what our old Stampin' Right markers were. So these are on their way out. And once they're gone, they're gone. Again, the Regals have already been discontinued. They had sold out. Now, these markers, they are different than our alcohol markers. So the Stampin' Blends, they're staying. They're not going anywhere. At the moment, well, this is going to post December 1st. So on December 1st at, I want to say, is it 11:50 or 11:59 Mountain Time? Our Stampin' Up's Black Friday sale is going to end. And right now, the Stampin' Blends, they come as a combo pack. You get a light shade and a dark shade of the color. They're regularly $11 for the combo pack. Right now, for the Black Friday sale, they are 40% off. So they are $6.60 right now for the combo pack. Now, if you are a demonstrator, on top of that 660, you're also going to get your demonstrator discount as well. So again, when you're watching this, I'm posting this. This is going to be going. This video is going to post at 5 a.m. Central Time on December 1st. So if you watch this before it hits midnight Mountain Time, and you need, I mean, check your blends, see if you got any that are dry, and if you need any replacements. This, like I said, the sale is going to end December 1st at 11:50 or 11:59, one of the two, Mountain Time. Everything with Stampin' Up is based off of Mountain Time. So whatever your time zone is in comparison to Mountain Time. But again, something like this, you wouldn't want to wait, till it comes to, being done, because the demonstrator support is only going to be there until 7 p.m. Mountain Time. So if you end up having a problem, then you're going to kind of miss out on it if you wanted to, you know, get them at a deal. Now, there were other products too that were part of the Black Friday sale. However, a lot of those things have already sold out. So the paper trimmer was on sale along with replacement blades. Um, there were also, was it the reinkers in there? Those were sold like as a bundle, based off of the color collections. Those have all sold out. There's a few blend colors that have sold out. What else was in there? There were adhesives. There were the regular sized dimensionals. These are still available, but the black ones and the mini ones, they sold out. The liquid glue that we sell, that sold out. So a lot of things did sell out, but again, these markers, they are 40% off right now. So if you need any replacement blends at all, again, that sale's going to end tonight. So go ahead and check that out. Um, so now what I'm going to do, let's get back to where I was at. So I am going to use kind of like my bullet tip, and I am going to, oh, and this is the pretty in pink if I didn't mention that. And I'm just going to color in the hearts that are his buttons, or her button. No, well, his buttons. Okay, so we got that. And then let's close up our glue for the time being so that don't dry out. Now I'm going to bring in my linen thread. I really do love this color combination. All right, so now I'm going to take this, I'm going to wrap this around. Okay, I want it to be a little bit long because I am going to tie a bow, and I don't want to end up struggling because I didn't cut a long enough piece. And of course, now I'm going to get this in my way. So I am going to kind of tie that right there, hold it down with my finger, and I'm going to create a knot. Okay. And then let me cut this. Okay, put that there. And I want this kind of centered. And then I'll tie my bow. Okay. So I don't want really small loops, but then I don't really want big loops either. Okay, so we have that. Then I'm going to bring in my mini dimensionals. Where are they at? There they are. And where's my take your pick tool? I find that it's a little bit easier to work with these smaller ones when I use this. So I'm going to place one right at the top of his head, and then another one right here on the bottom, because what I want to do is this knot right here, I want to go in between those dimensionals. So I want to lift him up so that way he'll lay flat underneath that knot. And then he's going to come over kind of like at an angle, like so. Okay, and then I'm going to trim. I'm going to trim my tails here a little bit. Don't need them so long. Okay. And then we are going to add dimensionals. So we're going to add, now to do, when I go to do this, I do not want to put them on either end right here where my linen thread is, because remember, I need to slide this paper under a little bit. So I'll add up at the top and on the bottom. And then because the paper is not going to come in too far, I'm going to take two more, and I'll add one up here and one down here. So that way this whole layer doesn't sag. Okay, so now I'm going to take this, bring in my card base, and I'm going to center this. Center this like so. Okay. I mean, it's pretty just like that. Now I'm going to take these strips, and I want to make sure I got them in the right direction, because in one direction they are going to be a little bit small. So this is going to go this way. And take my liquid glue. Okay, and then I'm going to turn my card, and I'm going to slide this under. Slide it under. Come on. don't move. Not while I'm trying to line you up. So I want this to go to the edge. So I'm going to slide this down. So that way it's even with the piece on here and also on the edge of my cardstock. So it looks like there's going to be a continuous strip of paper here. So let's do the same thing on this side. Okay. Let's slide that under. Okay. Move it up just a little bit. Make sure it's flush with that edge of my card base. And there's a little bit of glue evidently on my fingers. And then I'm going to press down on either end so that the paper underneath is nice and stuck to that card base. Okay, so I'm just using my adhesive remover just to get a little bit of that sticky off of there. Okay, so you can see it looks like that's a continuous strip of DSP right behind this panel right here. So then for my embellishments for this one, I'm going to bring in, these are the Strawberry Slush and Pretty in Pink gems. These are available in our online exclusives. So you have Strawberry Slush, you have Pretty in Pink, and then you have this clear, and they all have like these little gold flecks in them. So I am going to use the Pretty in Pink ones, and I'm going to add a few of these. And I got my card sample on the side, so just looking at where I got these placed. And then let's see, we got our smaller ones. So I will add, make sure I got it the right way. I'll add one there. And then another one right over here. Okay, so there is my second card. So really cute, the Pool Party, Pretty in Pink and Crumb Cake. A great color combination. Pretty in Pink was actually an in color that we had many years ago, and it made its return as an in color again. That was a last year actually, and the same thing with this year's this year's new in colors. Strawberry Slush was an in color way back when. Wait, Pretty in Pink, was it an in color? Maybe it was part of a color collection way back when, but I know like Strawberry Slush, that was actually in the same grouping with Strawberry Slush, Pistachio Pudding, Baked Brown Sugar, Coastal Cabana, and then there was Crisp Cantaloupe. Yeah, those were the 5 colors. So more like your sherbet type of colors. But yeah, the pink and the aqua along with the crumb cake are really great, is a really great color combination. So a very simple cardigan. You can do all your stamping and your die cutting ahead of time. You can stamp your greeting, cut your paper, and then you can just do it as an assembly line on putting it all together. So there is our second card. So let's get what we have here for our final card. Now, this final card, this is a case off of the sample that you will find when you go to the, the online exclusives on the Stampin' Up! Website. Actually, I do have a link for this whole bundle and actually all the products in the description of the video. But when you click on the link that takes you to where the bundle is, this is one of the samples that they have for this bundle. So um, it's never going to be exactly the same as what they did. Actually, their when they did theirs, they didn't add any embellishments to theirs at all. I actually did. But other than that, I use the same colors and everything. So for my card base, this is Garden Green, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. I have two pieces of basic white. Both of these measure 5.25 by 4. One's going to be for the front of our card. The other is going to be for our inside. I have another piece of Garden Green. This measures 2.75 by 2. A piece of basic white, that's 2.5 by 1.75. And then out of a scrap piece of basic white. Ahead of time, I had done some stamping and die cutting. So for these pieces here, I have my rolling pin. I have my two gingerbread men, the Santa hat, and the candy cane. All of these were stamped in pecan pie ink. My oven mitt is pretty in pink. And then my icing bag is in real red. So let's take our card base. Let's go ahead and fold and burnish this. Okay, and then we're going to take one of our pieces of basic white, and where is my seal? We'll go ahead and we'll put this inside of our card. Like so. Okay, and then we're going to be doing some stamping on our other pieces. So let me move that out of the way. Okay, so on my little piece here, let me get my Pierce mat, and then I'm going to pull in another stamp. Let me clean this one off really quick. And then I'm going to bring in the greeting that says it's beginning to taste like Christmas. So we're going to use that one. And then there is this one stamp here that's actually your cookie dough with the cutouts in it. So we want that one. If I can get it to come out. And then there is another one that has these sprinkles with a tree, a little candy cane, a little star. And so we're going to stamp with that too. So I think I have everything yet, because these other pieces I already stamped and die cut. Okay, so let's put this one away. We don't need this one anymore. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to put this on my block and kind of look at the top, because this being that it's in script, I want to kind of look at the plain text that's up at the top. If that looks straight, then I should be good. So let's see. And then I noticed that there's a lot more rubber on the bottom than there is on the top. So I'll keep that in mind when I go to stamp it. So then that way I have it kind of centered on my my little piece of white here. Okay, so let me get another block for, let's see, we'll put this like so. And again, you can see the excess. This is why I don't put the labels on them. And then we need our little sprinkles. Okay, so let's put that aside for the moment. So for this one, I'm going to stamp my greeting in Garden Green. So again, I'm going to be mindful that there's more space at the base of my greeting. And I'm going to make sure the bottom of my block is straight. And stamp that down. Okay. And then I'm going to take this and put this aside because I don't want that ink getting on anything. Now, with this piece, I want it to dry a little bit because I'm going to bring in one of my small blending brushes that I have for my greens. So my brushes, I don't have one for every color. I have it for color families. So I have a green and I have one that's for a light green. And then same thing, got one for reds, one for pinks, one for oranges. So yeah, I just clean the brushes before I mix in another shade of that color. All right, so what I need some scrap paper here. Put this down, and I'm going to bring some ink on my brush. I don't want the big blob, and what I want is I want to add just a light touch of this color, so I don't want it really dark. I just want it a nice light green. Okay, so there we go. And let's close this up and get that brush out of the way. Okay, we're going to need that. We're going to need that again here in a moment. Okay, so I'm going to take my adhesive and we'll attach this to our garden green piece. Just center that like so. And I'm going to press that down rather than wiping my hand on it because I don't want to pull up any of that ink. So that's going to layer on top of this piece. Now this piece we're going to stamp on. Again, I'm going to bring my Pierce mat in just so that way I can see my piece of cardstock. And then we're going to stamp with garden green and let's see what else. And our pretty in pink. And then also our pecan pie. Again, we already stamped with our real red, pretty in pink here, and then pecan pie, real red. All right, so I'm going to start off with my pecan pie. And I'm going to get my, let's see, how do I want to stamp this? So I'm going to get my cookie dough here, ink this up. Want to see how dark this is. Okay, so it's not bad. So I'm going to ink this up again. Okay, and then I'm going to stamp that right down here like so. Okay, and then we're going to do our sprinkles. So our sprinkles are going to be both garden green and pretty in pink. So I'm going to start with my garden green. And so we're just going to randomly stamp. Let's see, where else do I want to put this? Like over here. And let's see. Do we want to add another one anywhere? Maybe up here. I don't want to add too many of the green because I'm also adding the pink. So let me get my stamp and scrub here and clean my stamp. Because we definitely don't want that garden green in our pretty in pink. Okay. All right, so now we're going to stamp in a couple of places with this color. And kind of like in this middle area is where our greeting piece is going to be. So I think that's good. We don't need too many. All right, let me set that aside. And then let's bring in our card base. Now I'm going to take this and get my adhesive. We'll adhere this down. Let's just center that like so. Okay, and then all these little images here that I stamped and die cut, these are, well, all but one gingerbread man is going to be popped up. So I want to turn these over. I want to add my dimensionals to the backs of these. And let's see, this is a larger one. Okay, I think we can we fit one of the larger ones on there? Yeah. Let's see, I think our rolling pin, yep, we can fit the large ones on there as well. And then I think maybe this gingerbread, man, we can get one on there to where it doesn't show. Yeah, that'll fit on there. Now for my candy cane, I don't think the large one's going to work on that one. So I'm going to take a small one and put that on the hook part of my candy cane. All right, so now let's see how I want to lay, oh, and also we want dimensionals on the back of our greeting piece too. So I'm going to come in a little bit. I'm not going to go to the very corner because this will overlap on top of our icing bag a little bit. Okay, and I'll put one more in the middle because we don't want it all saggy. All right, so let me take off all these backings. Ow, that hurt. Went right under my nail. Come on. Come off there. Okay. All right, so now let me kind of slide these out of the way. All right, now I'm going to take my icing bag. Actually, maybe I should put this down first. Another backing. Wow. They like to stick to your fingers. All right, so now I'm going to take my greeting piece and I'm going to place that, so you'll bring it down a little bit, like right about, I'll make sure it's straight. Okay, I'm not going to press it down fully yet. Let's see that I'm also crooked too. All right, so then my icing bag, that's going to tuck under a little bit right there. And then my oven mitt is going to go over here. And let's see, one of our gingerbread men, I'm going to go over here. The Santa hat over here. And then let's see, let's put down our rolling pin first. So that's going to go over here. And then our candy cane there. So it all looks good. Let's press it all down. Okay, and then for this other gingerbread man, let's bring in our liquid glue. And I'll add a little bit to the back. This is our Tombow multi-purpose glue. It's usually in that white bottle with the green caps on it. Because there's a latex in this glue and you don't need a whole lot for things to stick with it, I put it in this fine tip glue bottle because you don't need much. I did get these fine tip bottles off of Amazon. They did come in a pack of 10, and I do have a link for those down in the description as well. Okay, so we have that stuck down. So now we got just one more step to do with this, and we're going to add some embellishments. Now again, in the sample that Stampin' Up! Did, they did not have any embellishments on it, but I felt it needs something. So what would be the perfect embellishment would be these peppermints. So I'm going to, again, these peppermints come in 3 different sizes, and so I'm going to use all 3. And we'll add one right up there. Okay, so there we go. There is our 3rd card. And again, this is a case off of the sample that Stampin' Up! Did for this bundle. So if you click on the link for the bundle and you bring it up on the website, you will see this sample card. They also have another sample where they use the little die cuts of like the gingerbread men to create like a bag, like a label for like a treat bag. So really like this, came out really cute. So there is our 3rd card. Let me bring in the other ones we did. So we did this really cute one with the combination of the crumb cake, Pretty in Pink, and Pool Party. Really like how this one came out. And then we did this first one here where we used our two-tone cardstock, embossed it, and then sanded it to expose that white core. So this is, again, really, really cute card. So if you like the projects that I have created for this monthly Christmas card inspiration video, please give the video a thumbs up. Also, I have lots of videos on here. I have, this will actually be video 316. So there is a lot of video content here on my channel. I do have playlists. So my Throwback Thursdays are all together. My Friday Night Lives are all together. And then, of course, all my monthly Christmas card inspiration stuff is also in its own playlist as well. So check it out. And if you like what you see, please consider subscribing. Hit the notification bell. It'll let you know when I post another video or when I go live. Um, Again, this is the monthly Christmas card inspiration. So usually I do 2 cards, and it could be retired or current product, but because my brain wasn't thinking, um, you got 3 cards for this episode. Now, again, I'm also changing up for the month of December my Throwback Thursday, so that's going to be the next video that's going to be up this coming Thursday, which will be the 4th of December. For that one, I am going to be using the pine tree trimmings bundle. This one is another online exclusive that came out in September. So no, it's not retired. It probably will. But again, I'm trying to use as much of the product that came out for Christmas before, they retire and then they go away for good. So When I do that video, instead of doing just 2 projects, I am going to do 3 as well. As far as next Friday goes, again, usually I go live at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, but this coming Friday, December 5th, it's going to be what I call a kinda live. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre record the video and then it will post at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I do the kinda lives because I still feel I want to give you the content, but every once in a while there's a prior commitment that comes up. So instead of just outright canceling it or changing it to another day, I just pre record it and then post it at 7. So, with that, again, if you like the projects, if you like the other stuff that you see on my channel, please give the videos a thumbs up, comments, sharing, liking, all of that helps with YouTube getting my videos out there to other paper crafters. So it not only helps in growing the channel, it also helps me in building my Stampin' Up! Business as well. And again, all of that stuff, I truly, truly appreciate the help with that. So, with that, again, like I mentioned earlier, if you are interested in the Stampin' Blends, which are Stampin' Up's alcohol markers, they are on sale, but that sale is going to be over at I'm just going to say 11:50 p.m. Mountain Time. So whatever that is to your time zone, for us, it would be almost 1 o'clock because we are ahead by an hour. So the link, I believe, I don't, yeah, I have a link that will take you to the online store and you'll see Black Friday sale. And again, like I said, that after it hits that time, the sale will be no more. So these Stampin' Blend markers, they come as a 2 pack and they're regularly $11 per pack. Right now, they're on sale for $6.60. And again, this is for the price I'm giving you is for here in the US. And 2 other things that I want to bring up as well. I do have a monthly newsletter that I send out. What I will have one coming out probably tomorrow. I'm pretty sure it'll be tomorrow because Tuesday is when Stampin' Up! Has their weekly updates. And I like to include like anything that they have going on into the newsletter. I give you the sneak peeks into the new kits that they have added to the kits collection for the month, and any other news that they have. One of those things they have decided that they were doing away with the celebration promotion that they typically do like at the beginning of the year. Instead, what they're going to do is they're going to be offering a product of the month, and that's going to be starting in December. So the way that is going to work, for when you place your order in that month, if it's $75 or more, now it's got to be, after you've taken Stampin' Rewards off, and it's also, or so it's Stampin' Rewards coupons, anything that brings that amount down, and it's also before the tax and shipping, you will get to choose that product for that particular month for only $5. So we don't have a heads up as to what it's going to be until that month starts, and it's also while supplies last. So that's something that is starting December 1st, and then every month there'll be a new product that they offer. Also, um, I mentioned about the Black Friday sale. Uh, yeah, one more thing. We do have a new mini catalog coming out the January to April. Our mailing program, where Stampin' Up! Directly mails it to you, had closed on the 30th of November. But if you would like a copy of that new mini catalog, or if you would like a copy of the current holiday mini, because that's still good until I think January 3rd, or even our current annual catalog. My email is in the description. Just send me an email. Um, Provide your full name and mailing address. Now, but you do have to be in the U.S. To get a catalog from me, and to even order through me, you do need to be in the U.S. And another thing, if you are working with another demonstrator, and you would like the catalog, please request the catalog from them. Um, Otherwise, I'm more than happy to send a catalog out to you. So, with that, everyone, thank you for taking the time to watch and to listen. And I will have another video out on Thursday, and that will be the pine tree trimmings. And then Friday will be it's the Modern Christmas Suite. That's the one, that's another online exclusive item that came out in September. That's the one with the paper that's black, white, and gold. So we're going to be, so that's going to be my kind of live for this coming Friday, December 5th. So until then, everybody, wherever you are, if it's whatever the weather's doing, if it's cold, it's warm, stay warm or stay cool, stay safe, because I know there's a lot of areas here in the US that are going to be getting snow. Here we may get a little bit, but we also may get freezing rain as well. So everybody, please stay safe and have a blessed one. And I will see you in my next video. So bye bye, everybody.